Hey, welcome to the podcast.
What's going on, Asher, man? Thank you, man. I appreciate you having this conversation, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Likewise, to introduce you to the audience, who do you say you are?
Man, that's a loaded question, man. Who do I say I am? I am ultimately somebody who is a father. I'm a husband. I look to see the world in a way in which I can give back and make it a better place. And ultimately, I like to be somebody who adds value to whatever space that I'm in. I'm a son, I'm a brother, father, all those good things, man, and a friend. A
Awesome.
follower of Christ as well. Yeah.
What was the last part?
Follower of Christ as well.
Hmm. Tell me a little bit about where you grew up.
Where did I grow up?
Yeah.
So I grew up a few places. So initially EO, if you're not from the area, it's East Orange, New Jersey.
Hmm.
I was there until fifth grade. And then after that, my mom moved us over to Roselle. That's in New Jersey.
Hmm.
So if you're not familiar with Jersey areas, it's a central Jersey, it's a northern Jersey, and then there's a Philadelphia, like also known as South Jersey. We don't
Hmm.
really, it's really no South Jersey, it's Philly. But no, I'm in Central. I was raised in Central Jersey.
Hmm.
So and with a little bit of sprinkle of Jamaica, Queens. So while I didn't live there,
Hmm.
father lived in Queens, and I used to go to Queens every other weekend, and in the summertime, I spent a lot of time out there. So got a little bit of that Jamaica Queens influence in my life as well.
Got you. So your father was Jamaican?
No. Jamaica Queens is a city in New York. Yep. Queens is the borough, and Jamaica is a part of Queens.
Got you. For some reason, I went straight back to Coming to America, the first movie, where it's like, hey, I gotta find me a queen. Let's see where they have queens in America. There,
Uh-huh.
that's where we're going.
Yep. My father's side does have Trinidadian though.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. So
That's what's up. So I guess growing up in New Jersey, what was that like? Is it less busy than New York, or
oh
how
yeah.
was it like moving around and things like that?
Yeah, a lot less business in New York, man. When you think about when you think about Jersey and New York, a lot of times people who live in New York move to New Jersey to get away from the hustle and bustle of city life and
Hmm.
have the opportunity to unwind, but also if they wanted to, they can always go to the city to get whatever they have to get done or what they want to get done.
Hmm.
But it's very close. I'd say where I was in Roselle was about 45 minutes away, 50 minutes away from Queens. Brooklyn is a lot closer.
Hmm.
So yeah.
Hmm. Is there anything that you're fond of growing up?
Yeah, man. When I think about growing up, man, I had a lot of what's going on? I had a lot of good times, good experiences, man. My mom, she full time was a probation officer, but in her part-time job after work, she would do she was a recreation supervisor. So I spent a lot of time in Newark, man, Newark, New Jersey,
Hmm.
running around to random, school sites, playing basketball in different neighborhoods, man. Playing that's so my mom, this is what my mom would do.
Hmm.
She'd take me, she would drop me off to a school. Obviously one where she knew the site director and she trusted them.
Hmm.
She dropped me off and like I had to kind of fend for myself. That's where I learned how to play ping pong.
Hmm.
That's where I learned how to do a lot of basketball. I learned social skills.
Hmm.
Um, I learned how to navigate different environments, man. It was a great part of my life, man. I'm very grateful for it. And in New York, man, I love the summertime, man, when we would go ahead and somebody would open up the fire hydrant.
Hmm.
And you got little kids in the summertime, man, in the middle of the street, like just getting blasted by a fire hydrant, man. And blasting cars coming by, and it was just a good time, man. It was a
Yeah,
good time.
man, it seems like that's like a cinematic movie scene always with New York, where you got fire hydrants going and you got people out playing. It's just like everything seems to be in New York because it's like you've got the Statue of Liberty, so that's like a landing port for a lot of people coming to America, and just like the mix of just different cultures and everything. Like everyone's got their own borough, everybody's got their own uh neighborhood that they hang out in.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like
I was just gonna say they all have different personalities, man.
mm,
Different makeups, like as far as cultures there.
yeah.
It's a cool place, man.
Did you I see your jacket says support black. I can't quite see it. It's cut off a little bit. Black
Well,
colleges.
psychologists, absolutely, man.
That's what's up. And I guess with that, like growing up in, well, I'll be honest, I didn't realize Newark was Newark. I thought it was New York mispronounced, but then I think you're the second person that I've met from Jersey, from that Newark area, because you got Mike Lawrence or Mike Lowry, as some of us might say.
Yeah.
It's like uh, just good people up in that area, and you guys seem like you're real laid back, chill. But then when you go into New York, people are running around, bumping into each other, and it's like if you stop to be like, "Who bumped into me?" It's like the person's long gone, and they're not worried about you.
Oh yeah, yeah. New York is it's a totally different beast, man. If you can drive New York, traffic, man, you can drive anywhere. But let me help you out though.
Hmm.
Do not come here and say Newark. They will eat you alive. All right.
All
Just
right,
say Newark. Newark.
Newark.
So imagine Nork. Newark.
Mm.
Boom.
Nork.
Newark.
Okay.
But yeah, man, it's it's an interesting place, man. My
Yeah.
mom was born and raised in Newark. Newark is a very urban area, man. A lot of culture, a lot of rich history.
Mm.
Um, Poverty as well, But history is rich, man.
Yeah.
Great people in Newark, man. Like you said, great spirit, great culture, and Newark raises people, man, with a lot of grit and a
Mm.
lot of resilience, man. It's a good place.
I guess do you guys have any sport teams that you lean on, or like what's like what keeps people kind of bonded together?
In Newark. So if you're asking about like in Jersey, Jersey and Newark, Jersey has the New Jersey Devils.
Mm.
We used to have the Nets, but you know where they are now. They're in Brooklyn, man. So it's a nicer draw over there as far as,
Yeah.
having no business. And also both New York teams, while they're New York teams for football,
Hmm.
they still play in Jersey, man, at the Meadowlands.
Mm.
So it's interesting. But I would say those are some of the sports that draw people together. Yeah.
Gotcha. So I guess with how you grew up jumping in between different neighborhoods and things like that, like what did you what did you look forward to when it came to like after school activities, school, different things like that? Like how did you feel like you were gonna go forward in life?
After school activities. So the biggest thing for me, I played some rec leagues for basketball. I played a little bit of football. Um, and when I was younger, like I said, going to those rec centers and just, developing my skills and just having a good time, man. It
Mm.
wasn't even really about developing skills at that point. It was just getting that energy out, man, and meeting new people. And, one thing that I learned from that experience in that environment. So while my mother worked in the area, I wasn't from Newark.
Mm.
So, when you're not from an area, people know. People know when
Mm.
you're not from the area. And sometimes will treat you accordingly. So I learned like how to navigate different environments and different neighborhoods and how to still how to still, get along, man, how to still hold my own, how to still be able to understand the language wherever I was in order to connect with people, man.
Got you. So then for college, you decided to go down to Alabama of all places for Oakwood. How'd you come to that decision?
For the truth, oh man. So I'd gone to a few colleges to visit and tour.
Hmm.
My father is Seventh-day Adventist, not was.
Hmm.
My father is Seventh-day Adventist. And by default, I guess I was raised Seventh-day Adventist. I going to some other schools, some other colleges. But I went down at that time to Oakwood, man, to something called College Days.
Hmm.
I went to Pine Forge my senior year. Pine Forge, if
So then you went on the college tours.
yes. So I went on different college tours to figure out, where I wanted to go potentially in different colleges. But my father is Seventh-day Adventist. I was raised Seventh-day Adventist halfway at least because my mom wasn't Seventh-day Adventist, and I lived with my mother. My father lived in Queens.
Mm.
So I was at Pine Forge. For those of you who don't know what Pine Forge is, Pine Forge Academy is one of the um, pioneers of Black boarding schools
Hmm.
in the U.S. Which has a religious background. And I went there my senior year in high school, and we went to college days, and I was sold, man. At that time, Drumline was out. I don't know if you remember the movie
Yeah,
Drumline.
I remember it. I think they filmed it at Tech.
Yeah, probably okay. And I said, man, that's how they do HBCUs? Oh man, I'm there. I'm sold. I don't put me at HBCU.
Hmm.
I ended up, Oakwood was a HBCU. It made sense. It was a good feel when I went down there. So all right, I'm going to Oakwood.
Yeah.
And I went to Oakwood. We didn't have the band like you saw, and it wasn't the same.
Hmm.
But A&M was right up the road, and they had that. They had the bands and the football team and all that. It was a great experience, man. Great times, man. Great times down there.
That's awesome. So I guess the with your dad being Seven-day Adventist, the push going from Pine Forge to Oakwood, those were like the main two colleges in the state or in the country that you were looking at.
Well, no, man, you had your Rutgers, I had like Widener in Pennsylvania. I could have went to Lincoln. There was different schools that I could have gone to.
Hmm.
Um, but that's the one that kind of when I went down there, it felt like home, man. It was personal. It was a smaller campus.
Hmm.
It seemed like, you can get a good amount of attention there and a lot of good opportunities, man. Oakwood has like, I'm not a doctor, but
Hmm.
Oakwood has like the highest rate of not only sending students to med school, but actually passing their boards and everything.
Oh
Um,
wow.
they produce some heavy hitters in different areas, and I wanted to be there, man.
Mm.
I
So
was,
so once you get to the Oakwood, the HBCU, like you said, it's not exactly like you thought it would be with drumline and everything, but
like,
it still has some of those elements. So like what did you find yourself going into? Like what did you choose to focus on?
ah,
Who'd you choose to be around?
man. So it's a good question. So initially, we got there. So Pine Forge, it's interesting. So Pine Forge, a lot of people go to Pine Forge are legacy like Pine Forge people. Like they're legacy I don't want to say Pine Forgians, but I
Hmm.
would say it's legacy Pine Forge people, right? And when they go to Oakwood a lot of times, they like really stick together real tight and they're like cliquish.
Hmm.
I only went for 1 year to Pine Forge. Great people there. I had a good time.
Hmm.
Myself learned a lot, and grew a lot at Pine Forge. But I said I wanted to, create um, a different brand for myself other than just the Pine Forge brand.
Yeah.
So, man, I met some real good guys, man. Down at what was it? Was it Edwards Hall or I forget the name of the hall, man, but it's since changed if I'm not mistaken. Peters, I think it was Peters. Anyways,
Mhm.
I met a lot of good guys down there, man. My freshman year, I was rooming with actually somebody who I went to Pine Forest with, John. John, what was John's? I don't remember John's last name, but John. Um, and from there, man, I met one of his boys, his guy, my guy Lorenzo or Zoe, Ozzy, man. It was just Ozzy, Jeremy. It was just like it was a lot of good people that I met down there, man.
Mhm.
And man, if I'm honest, bro, I probably wasn't focused on what I needed to focus on. Like my freshman, sophomore year, maybe even June. I mean, I didn't have a stellar GPA. I ended probably with well, not probably, it's if you round it up to 3.0.
Mhm.
It was like a 2.95, man.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, I had a good time and it was a great experience socially. It was a great experience spiritually in a lot of ways. It was a great experience as far as being able to be independent and being away from my family and my support system.
Mhm.
Um, but man, when I look at the students who I work at a university, a large PWI right now.
Mhm.
And when I look at the students who are coming in now
Mhm.
versus how I was, I'm like, man, these kids are gonna be amazing. I looked at somebody's background the other day on the classes they took. Man, they took like Calc 2 and 3 AP by the time they're freshmen. I'm like,
Oh wow.
man, y'all are gonna be all right. Um, so yeah, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
But I always um I had I learned a lot and had a good time. I learned and I had a good time also.
That's what's up. And I guess with that, like being able to be away from home, like what were some of the things that you kind of like came away with that you're like, okay, like I got this from home, but I also like got this from college. Obviously, you like got the college experience and you got the relationships that you built, like people who you can still recall, think fondly of, and things like that. But um, what's something that you could say like you you wanted to get this from the experience of going to Oakwood, and then like once you came out of that, you're like, okay, I maybe got this and like five other things I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, five other things. Oof. I have one.
Should I say 10, 15, 20?
Um, yeah, that would have got my mind probably
Maybe two, maybe one thing that you wanted to get and like maybe two other things that tagged along.
one thing. So the first man, I wanted to get away and be able to experience life on my own.
Hmm.
Now, mind you, I was in college. I mean, it wasn't necessarily on your own.
Hmm.
I was on my own. Yeah, I was on my own. Um, so it was cool in the sense that I had to grow, man. I had to um find new friends. I had to adopt new quote unquote family.
Hmm.
And I learned that, man, I could make it, man. I learned that I could make it um outside of my comfort zone. I learned that I
Hmm.
could make it outside of what was a norm for me, man. If you think about Jersey
Hmm.
versus Alabama,
Hmm.
it's like a culture shift, man. It's such a culture shift. Um, Southern hospitality is real, right? As far as people being very very accommodating and being hospitable and being nice.
Hmm.
But there are also some other cultural differences that aren't so nice.
Yeah.
So I was able to get that experience too, as far as learning another culture in the world, man. I think that recently I've started traveling a little bit more.
Hmm.
And as I travel different places in different countries, I'm like, every time I go somewhere, it opens up my eyes to things that I never really even imagined, man.
Hmm.
And being down south, while I had family down south in North Carolina, went to family reunions down there. That was insulated.
Hmm.
Um, I learned that I can make it on my own. For that time in my life, at least, what my own was. And what else? I mean, I got a college degree. I went down there for that.
That's true.
I
Yeah.
was able to get that because listen, hey man, it's real down there. Some people don't get that.
Yeah. I
I
guess
want to
what did that do for you once you got it? I mean, it's like you got the thing you kind of went down there for.
well, man, what did it do for me? First of all, it took me a long time to get it.
Mm,
I might have been one of those people, it took me 8 years to get my 4-year degree, man.
mm,
Uh, I had a business. My brother and I, Jeremy,
mm,
Laws, man, we had a business, and we're inputting goods from overseas and selling them wholesale to like
mm,
different stores and also retail. And man, I almost didn't make it out because I didn't think I was going to need a college degree, man. I said, man, we're doing good selling these sneakers. We have stores that we can go to and they'll buy them, and we have
mm.
people that'll buy them, and this is great.
Yeah.
Uh, but the degree opened doors that would not be open otherwise.
Hmm.
Um, so I believe in being self-educated. I do believe the degrees are important, but I also believe that we should always find ways to independently improve ourselves in
Yeah.
our toolbox. So while I do work in an institution,
Hmm.
in a university, I see the importance of doing the self work as well because the degree is at the end of the day, it's a piece of paper.
Hmm.
Like you can have a degree from Harvard, from Princeton, from Yale. It's a piece of paper until you start doing work to validate it.
Yeah.
So what did the degree do? It showed me that I could finish it.
Mm,
But I don't necessarily think that a degree from unless it's in the medical field or a field that you have to be qualified, you have to be tested, vetted, and certified to do.
hmm.
I think it's just a practice of being able to complete something. But there are a lot of people who have degrees who are no different of people than when they started.
Yeah.
So yeah, if that answers your question, what did the degree do for me? It opened doors.
Gotcha.
Doors, yeah, that wouldn't have been open before.
I guess what did you study? Did you what yeah, what did you pick and did you kind of veer away from it once you got out and started working?
I did. My major was pre-physical therapy,
Mm,
uh, and I wanted to do it until when I graduated. They were changing the requirements from a master's to a doctorate. You
ooh,
had to have a DPT, and I said, man, it took me, man. You know how long it took me to get out of here. I said, I don't want to do another, however long it was to get a doctorate.
right.
And so yeah, I ended up veering off into education, man. I spent time in like juvenile detention centers teaching swimming.
Mm,
I had been doing that since I was like 16 or 17.
hmm.
Um, I would teach swimming in like juvenile detention centers. So right before jail for young people who were under 18. So man, they had murders, they had drug charges, they had fighting charges, they had just different assault, different things.
Right.
But even though I had never gone down that pathway of going that deep,
Mm.
I had a special place in my heart for these young men and women because I was expelled from 3 schools by the time I was in 10th grade,
Oh wow.
just having misdirected energy,
Hmm.
and I found it fulfilling to pour into these students, pour into these young people,
Yeah.
and I caught the education bug, man. And I did some substitute teaching for a while.
Hmm.
Did some work within like trio programs, which are programs that help underserved youth uh, in developing their skills and being prepared for the world. So I did that at Seton Hall University for a little while, and then went to another university to work, and then I saw an opportunity around entrepreneurship. Man, I said, man, I did that in college.
Yeah,
Before college, I can help some students out, and yeah, that's here I am now.
awesome. And I guess with that, what was it like when did you go home during the holidays or like once you finished up at Oakwood, would you go back and forth to Jersey?
A lot of times I would go back and forth. I would go sometimes for like the Christmas break.
Mm,
A lot of for Thanksgiving, I would usually stay in Alabama.
mm.
Yeah.
But I guess once you wrapped up, did you see any reason to stay in Alabama, or were you kind of homesick or anything like that, or you just wanted to switch things up?
But funny enough, I did the 4 years in Alabama,
Mm,
and I thought I only had like 3 or 4 classes to do, and I had a couple more than that,
mm,
particularly hard classes. So after the four, I was done. After the four, I was done being at Oakwood, but I came back home and was taking some classes sporadically
mm,
to finish. But I didn't really think that there was much opportunity down there for me in Alabama. The area that I was in, Huntsville,
mm.
Madison, it's a very good area for somebody if they're an engineer. So Asher, man, hey man, if you ever thinking about going down to the Bama, man, Huntsville is a good place because they have your Lockheed, they have NASA there, they have the Army base. I think they have a lot of engineering roles within that area and
Mm.
consulting as well. But outside of that, man, it's not much opportunity.
Gotcha. I guess you
So
never saw that for yourself, or
no,
gotcha.
no.
It didn't really mix with entrepreneurship, or what was it
Yeah,
for
you
you?
have you have entrepreneurs everywhere,
Got right, right.
But I wanted to, yeah, where I was in my life, I didn't see being down there
Mm.
long term.
I guess like you said, when you first started working with kids, going to the juvenile detention center, did your mom play any role in that since that's a little bit of what she did before?
Mm-mm. So interestingly enough, she wasn't. So it's different types of probation officers.
Mm,
She wasn't a probation officer that was in the field.
mm,
So what I mean by that is she wasn't a probation officer who had to check urine and make sure people were doing the right thing.
mm,
She was a probation officer in like a county building where she worked with domestic violence
mm,
and child support. So people would come in if they had like child support challenges, and she would fill out paperwork and move people along.
mm.
If it was domestic violence, she would talk to the victims more so than the people who were committed of the different crimes. But
Gotcha.
yeah,
Okay.
no, it was a natural. Well, I won't say it was a natural progression, but I used to work at I was a lifeguard,
Mm,
and then I got my water safety instructor license certification,
mm,
which allowed me to teach swimming.
mm,
And somebody who I knew, his Dre, he used to be one of my supervisors. He said, "Al, man, you should come down here to the youth house, the
mm,
juvenile center, man. You can." They made more money,
mm,
and it was actually it's crazy. You made more money. It was easier too.
mm.
Um, and it was a new experience, man. So I said, hey, I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's crazy coming in every day, man. Whenever you come in, so we come to the front gate.
Mm,
Come to the front gate, you press a button, they let you in the door. The gates come open. Go to the next one, you press a button. It's like, listen, they see. It's weird because they see you.
mm.
They know who you are,
Yeah.
and every day you come in. Yes, how can I help you? I'm here. You know me.
Yeah.
I'm here to work. Like, you know how you can help. Let me in.
Right, right.
So it was this big security thing, which is understandable. So it's a juvenile jail.
Yeah.
But pat you down and everything. Make sure you don't have any it warns you. Make sure you have no weapons or anything. Make sure you have no contraband. And yeah, man, it was an interesting experience, man. You gotta wait when you get buzzed in. They open one door. You come in. You have to wait till that door closes
Mm.
before the other one can open. It's an interesting. It was an interesting place, man. But I
So,
learned a lot. I learned a lot there.
mm. I guess what kept you there while you were there? Like, was it, did you look forward to working with the kids, or did you look forward to like making an impact or making a name for yourself?
Yeah. So when I was younger, Asher, what got me with was the money.
Mm.
Um, I was man. I can't. I really do think I was 17 or 18, maybe 18 when I first. No, 17 when I first started working there.
Mhm.
It was the money. It was. I mean, I wasn't that deep then. I was at high school. But then after I started, uh-oh. After I started going to college and coming back,
Mhm.
I started seeing some ways that I could help some of the guys there, and then I wanted to pour into them a little bit more, and help them out.
Mhm.
So, as I got older, it became more meaningful to me. But when I was younger, it was you got a time and a half, man. It was a great little gig for for somebody 16, 17, man.
Yeah.
I think I mean, now listen, it's not crazy, but I think at the time then, minimum wage was like $8 an hour. I was making like $20 an hour,
Jeez.
and we were getting a time and a half if we did extra hours. So, man,
At
I
17.
I was man, I was chilling, man. I was having that's what it was first. But as I got older and started having some more tools under my belt, man, my toolkit,
Mhm.
I wanted to help a lot more.
Mhm. So I guess what's your latest venture into entrepreneurship been like? Like when you've gone from doing your own thing to where it's you and your brother, you guys working on shipping shoes or importing shoes, selling them, working one to one. What has it been like now, um, taking on the role of teaching students to do it, and like how did you get to that role?
You're saying, okay, one more time. You're saying, what is it like now working with students?
Yeah, yeah. Like what did it feel like getting back into entrepreneurship after you hadn't done it for a little bit since college? Or did
Oh,
it always stay with you like throughout college, after college, through having jobs on the side?
yeah, man, I've always done something with it, man. It's been trials and tribulations, man, ups and downs, man. So, um, hmm, I don't even know how to answer the question. So we look at the university I work at in our program,
Hmm.
we look at entrepreneurship as a mindset.
Hmm.
So I've always been entrepreneurial minded, even if I didn't have a company at the time. So what do I mean by that? When we think about entrepreneurship, we think of the mindset of being able to identify problems, create solution, and figure out who's going to pay for it and where the value can be added. So whether or not you're in a company and finding different verticals to bring money into your organization, or whether you're starting your own business or running your own business, the mindset is something that is interchangeable.
Hmm.
Um, so and throughout my career, I've had different ventures that I worked on, from like a children's book series with my daughter
Hmm.
to writing my own book around personal development, to doing workshops around personal branding and leveraging uh, experience. and use an experience to create leverage in your life.
Hmm.
I've done a few things, man. Done a few things in a little bit of real estate. So while I may not be doing it full time,
Hmm.
it's always sprinkled in my life
Hmm.
where somehow.
That's nice. And I guess with that, I see you got some of the comic books back there. They look like possible classics, but X-Men, Marvel. Do you
Yeah.
is that something you keep just for yourself personally, or is it something to connect with your students as they come through and things like that?
Yeah,
They
man.
look like collector's edition, so I don't know if they're allowed to be touched or not.
Yeah, they can be touched. So there, here's one. What is this from? Okay. So this one right here, um, X-Men Uncanny. But basically, I have those up there, man. X-Men because when I think about X-Men, I think about our students, man. They all come in with like freakish powers, man, freakish abilities, and some have harnessed their greatness, some have harnessed some of their superpowers, most of them haven't.
Mhm.
So I look at them as X-Men, and in my little way, somehow, I try to be like a Professor X in a
Yeah.
sense, and try to help them see the different talents, abilities, and value that they add to the world.
Mhm.
And that's a reminder, man. That's a reminder.
Mhm. I like that.
Yeah.
It's very fitting.
I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate hey. Yeah, man. It's some classics in Asher.
Yeah.
I think where is this? This is from '93.
Oh wow.
Batman.
Okay.
21 years old. If
Man.
my past serves me correctly. 1992. Yeah, man.
Man. So I guess with the career that you're in now, did that help you did that help you kind of like build a family for yourself or kind of set roots down once you got back into Jersey?
So no, man. So I was back in Jersey for a while before I started this. I'm
Mm.
trying to think. I've been here 10 years. Whew, it's a long time, Asher.
Don't say it like that.
A
Don't
long
say it
time,
like
man.
that. That
It's a
is
long time.
that's true.
I didn't
That's
plan
true.
on being here. I thought I was gonna be here like 3 years, man, and I was gonna work full time as an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
Um, but it got well, I don't want to say God. I don't want to say God. Well, it didn't work out that way. But I do believe that everything is done in His perfect, in God's perfect plan, man.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I was here since I was 29. Before that, I worked at another university, and before that, I was doing like freelancing with like speaking and doing my book stuff, and yeah. But like I said, I didn't get my degree until I believe I was 25, I believe is when I got my degree.
Mm.
Yeah, man. So I had a little bit of a delayed start, man.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it worked out, man. It worked out, man. I look at it like this, man. Your challenges set the stage for your successes, man. Your failures set the stage for your successes if you continue with it.
Mhm.
I mean, you learn how to angle it and utilize it to your benefit, man. Man, no shame in my game, man.
Right, right.
Shame.
So I guess like you said, things maybe didn't work out how you wanted. You were thinking 3 years and then it turned into 10 years. Like what did work out in the 10 years?
Yeah, man. Excuse me. I've learned, man. I've developed. who I am as a person, a lot more who I am as a husband, who I am as a father.
Hmm.
Um, I have, I think, strengthened my walk with God. Um, I've developed as a leader, and I've been able to do some cool things, man. Like I've been able to do some impactful work within the university.
Hmm.
Created something called it was a leadership accelerator called the Rutgers Entrepreneurial Accelerator of Leadership, where taught students around different soft skills, man. Taught I realized there was a huge need for developing soft skills because universities as a whole
Hmm.
do an awesome job at hard skills.
Hmm.
Soft skills, they often don't do as good of a job as a job. And that's something that's usually lacking. It's something that it's not necessarily taught in the classroom. It's something that the students have to pursue
Hmm.
and to receive. So, man, we went over everything from, well, not every, we went over things like neuroplasticity, and how you can keep your brain plastic and
Hmm.
malleable. Um, Utilizing the love languages for business,
Hmm.
how that translates as a leader. Um, Being able to create influence in your space. Like, man, we did some awesome work, man. Personal branding. And these students have gone on over the years to do some awesome, some amazing things, man. So, that's something I created here. I created an entrepreneurship and innovation living learning community
Hmm.
where students can actually live together. They come in as freshmen
Hmm.
and they live together. They break things together. They learn together, and with the goal of becoming innovators, and some entrepreneurs, but innovators within their space.
Right.
Uh, Been able to create some cool things, do some work on some cool things, man, and make some impact here.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, man, it's fun.
I guess what's one thing in 2024 that you've enjoyed or look forward to as the year kind of wraps
Hmm.
up to a close?
What's one thing I enjoyed? I've enjoyed seeing my kids grow and develop, man.
Mm.
So this year, my daughter, she plays tennis, and she's been playing for a little while, but she's gotten a lot better as
Mm.
far as her serve. She's been learning, growing. She really enjoys it. She has fun. She's alive when she's out on the tennis court, and she's dialed in. So I've enjoyed seeing her do that and being that activity. My son, he started flag football this year.
Mm.
So that has been an interesting journey because he never, I don't, I mean, I played, but I don't watch football necessarily.
Mm.
I don't watch football in the house, not even necessarily. Um, so it's like his real first exposure to it. I mean, I at times throwing the ball with him and taking him out, but he never really gravitated towards it.
Mm.
And this year, man, he's finally starting to like football.
Mm.
He said he wanted to do it, and then he got out there, and I guess he was like a fish out of water. He said, "Oh no, Daddy, I'm not too sure about it." But we talked to him, and like, man, listen, you said you wanted to do
Mm.
it, so hey, man, you made the commitment. We're gonna at least do this year. If
Right.
you don't like that, hey, you can go do something else.
Mm.
But and through that commitment, he's been enjoying it.
Nice.
So
So
those are things that I've enjoyed.
it's very good. And I guess that might be something to bond over in the future.
Yeah, man, I think so.
Awesome. And what's something you're looking forward to close the year out on?
Well, one thing is I'm going to a retreat
Mm.
in 3 weeks, November 7th, man, the Prayer Warriors Global Retreat,
It snuck
2024.
up quick.
It snuck up quick, man. It's here. I'm excited about that, man. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to recharge, to refresh myself
Mm.
for the year, connect with brothers. in the Smoky Mountains, get closer to God. So that's one thing I'm looking forward in 2024. I'm looking forward to um, also new horizons, man. I'm in a good place as far as I like within my job. I know what I need to do. I have systems, I have things in place,
Mm,
but I've been looking for other opportunity.
mm,
So, excuse me, AKA looking at different jobs and things of that nature.
yeah.
And, it's been a cool process. Like I've actually gotten some offers, but for some reason or another, they didn't make sense all the way.
Mm,
So I'm looking forward in 2024 to see what's out there, man, and to continue to explore and see like what really feels like it's somewhere I can make an impact,
yeah.
um, where I can learn, where I can grow,
Mm,
where I can help develop other people and myself.
I like that. Yeah, I guess one thing we keep in common is the opportunity to learn and grow with our Sunday calls, meetups, and things like that. And the homework that Barry sent out for this week, I think I've watched that thing over 3 or 4 times at this point, and I'm going back through maybe a fifth time and taking some little bit detailed notes. But it's funny what kind of stuck out to me where I wrote it, and when I wrote it down, I was like, "Oh, that makes sense. It tracks throughout." And then going back to one of the statements that BK makes on the prayer line is that what's in your hand? The question of like what is it that you already have? Because sometimes it's like I get busy looking for this or looking for that, and then I kind of came back to the advanced insight assessment because it talked a lot about like what are the things that you value, and the things that you value most is what you should structure your life around. And going back through that assessment and we're looking at the values page, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. This is when I'm operating at my best is because I value I value strong leadership, being able to
Mm,
stay in control of the situation. And then it's like if I'm not in control of the situation or if it's not optimal for the people that I'm leading, then it's probably best to kind of like step back, regroup for a minute. And then in other cases, another thing that I value is like I think it's the theoretical track where they talk about like wanting to know all aspects of the subject, like all sides of it. And here recently, like we kind of talked a little bit about spirituality, is that wanting to know, okay, there's the, like you said, the hard skills, the learning to read your Bible, the things like that, or with work, it's like, okay, you check in, you show up on time, you drive to work, you do the paperwork and things like that. But how do you speak to people? How do you approach people? And then it's like, how do you attract business? How do you maintain the quality of work that you do? And like you talk about it, it's all those little things that kind of go into it. So getting this assignment at this time, it seemed very timely. And it's one of those things that I look forward to um, catching up with you and the guys tomorrow.
yeah, man, definitely. Definitely. Man, what assessment did you take, man? Because I've taken value assessments, but
Mhm.
I
Well, I
haven't
mean,
heard that one.
I think I could probably send it to you. And it's kind of like three in one where you have the disc is the first that leads off with it, and then the values ties into it, and then you have the attributes. That's the third thing. And basically they're supposed to work all together to where it's like the way your behavior is set up, like the way you show up in the world. The disc is your how you show up,
Yep.
and then the values is like the why you choose to show up in that way, and then
Hmm.
the attributes are what you do, like what is your driver, like
Interesting.
do you choose to work with your hands, your heart, or your head, like which ones do you prefer first? And then it's how do you kind of see yourself socially, and how do you see yourself um externally? There's something on there talking about
Hmm.
um, self confidence, but
Okay.
or maybe not self confidence, but it's basically something looking at. you how you react to how other people perceive you. So
Right.
it's like I wouldn't say it's a double entendre, but it's one of those things where it's like it's a misnomer almost to where it speaks to something that a lot of people use as like verbiage, but at the same time, it's very it shows you how loaded the term is and basically strips away a lot of the things that are like you might have been misinformed about, or you might just be looking at it the wrong way.
Interesting. Yeah, I gotta check that out, man.
Yeah.
Because I've done like two disc assessments. Um, I've never done that one. Can I sh am I allowed to share my screen?
Oh, sure.
I want to show you this. So I did this class an independent um cohort program around finding and evolving your purpose by Sanit Bhatt.
Mm,
And like it was a lot of different things that were very valuable during that cohort.
mm,
But this one right here, when we looked at values,
mm,
here were mines.
mm.
The first one was curiosity.
Yeah.
Um, and what's interesting is during this class, I also learned when we looked at strengths
Mm,
that and I'm a philomath,
mm,
which is just somebody who is, if you probably heard about it, but for those viewers who are watching who have not heard, is somebody who really finds a lot of value in the love of learning.
mm,
Um, and you and I know we read, we do all these things, so we have. You're probably a philomath as well,
mm,
but for the love of learning. But when I look at these values, right, and what stands out the most to me, man, like, yeah, those assessments are very valuable.
yeah.
When I think about today, right, today I went on a hike.
Mm,
First, so a friend of mine from my job, she had shared she was hiking with her students.
mm,
And I said, hey man, when y'all go, I want to go because I've always wanted to hike, but I just always been deterred by the thought of ticks.
mm,
Um, so anyways, when I think about today, we went on a hike. The trail was called the Stairway to Heaven.
mm.
So I said I wasn't sure if I was ready for it because I want to go to heaven, but I don't know if I would just want to just stairway myself up there from the mountain.
Right.
Uh, anyways, we went, and when I think about it, like these things were important, right?
Mm,
I was wanted to go because I was really curious to see what it was like. I love nature.
yeah.
It was an adventure. Um, I brought my wife with me,
Mm,
and there's health sprinkled in there as well. Like and I was really like on cloud nine, man, close to
mm,
heaven. I
yeah.
was like, um, so this is interesting, man. I'm trying to see how do I go ahead. Here we go. Stop screenshot. For
You found
some,
it.
here we go. Boom. There we go.
Gotcha.
So yeah, man, values are important. Values are very important.
That's
I'm
dope.
curious to see the assessment you're talking about because I've seen how the ones where it talks about who you are
Mm,
or how people perceive you.
right.
I haven't seen the one how you react to people's perception of you. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, mm,
Or
yeah.
did I miss
I
it?
think no. I think it has some of that in it. I don't think I misinterpreted it, but I think that the thing that kind of stood out to me in the video was like just the reminder that like we get to choose the things that we value. And even seeing where maybe if your values aren't working out, you can kind of make the difference up in the gap. And then there's a reminder of like putting people on pedestals, or something else that he said was like putting people in pits as well. So it's like if you're not elevating somebody, you could be judging someone based off of your standard. And then you could be comparing your standard to someone else's, or someone else's standard to yours. And then you think it's like, oh, I'm not doing anything because, oh, I'm not successful because I'm not doing what this person is. But it's like you could be successful in different things because you value something they don't. And
Mm-hmm.
then so long as you're clear on what you value and what you're good at, then you can get the right strategy to get what it is that you need, whether it's money, whether it's better health, different things like that. But doing away with the confusion, I think really goes a long way. And being able to hear talks like that where someone shares a part of their life, kind of like you've done with me so far today, it's like what started as like an interest, whether it was like, okay, maybe I got into trouble a little bit as I was a kid, then I go and I help kids that have gotten themselves into trouble, and like being an entrepreneur, seeing it as a mindset, not just like a thing that you do. You've been able to carry that on and teach it to other people, just like you taught as being a lifeguard, being in different things, and now even putting the time into your family and into your kids to say, okay, hey, daughter likes tennis, son likes flag football. It's like something that they're taking to where it's like there's the like people talk a lot about like your talents, your gifts and things like that. And it always be like, oh, you're supposed to play, you're supposed to have fun. And it's like um other people say like, it's like if you find something that you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. And I think sometimes there's truth in that, but at the same time, it's like even when you run up against work, maybe to people that are outside will think, oh, they're not working. But it's like everyone has to work, so to speak, but it's like how you go about doing the work. Like
Mm,
if you learn to do something through discipline in the way that you might not like it, you might hate it, you might have a bad relationship with it, but if you start to build like a loving relationship with something that you know has to get done and it's something that aligns with your value, more times than not, it seems to serve more people and
mm,
it seems to bring you the resources that you want and need. And the more that you focus on what you need, the better you are at getting the outcomes that you desire. And that seems to be true when I look at your life for the way that you've explained it to me today. And
mm,
I'm trying to evaluate myself and be like, okay, well, there are those big questions you have to ask of yourself to get more, to become more. But at the same time, it's like, I think I'm there. Maybe I do it like 5, 15 minutes at a time. It doesn't have to be like the whole day and like
right.
breaking it up into parts to make it piecemeal, digestible and things like that.
No, no, I definitely receive it, Ash. I receive that, bro.
Well, I'll ask you two questions
Oh,
as we look to wrap. How can people get in touch with you in case they're looking to connect, learn more about your story, do business, like anything
yeah.
like that?
The best platform for me is LinkedIn.
Mm,
I am on LinkedIn as Alfred Blake the fourth.
mm,
Not the, but one V.
mhm.
Uh, and yeah, I think I answered that question. That's the best way to get in contact with.
Awesome. And from the first question I asked you, are you still who you said you were?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, listen, there was a time where I used to like even especially in the workspace. Man, Asher, I used to come in to work every day with a bow tie, with a shirt, with a suit on,
Mhm,
and that's great. No knock to anybody who does that, but man, it wasn't necessarily me, man. I mean, it was me at the time, but I've
mhm.
evolved um to like really being more focused on being authentic, man, or authentically who I am.
Yeah.
Um, and not having to put on a costume in order to still be able to add value, man.
Mm,
Now, I do understand the impact of perception, and there's a time and a place for some certain things.
mhm.
But yeah, man, I am who I say I am, man. I'm every day trying to get more dialed into to who that is and refine who that is. So that is beneficial to everybody, to myself, but everybody who I interact with.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today, Alfred. It was a pleasure talking with you. And We'll
Talking
meet
to
again
you.
tomorrow.
Sounds good, man.